Group, I learned a lot from you. No, also yours, my dear. But I'm talking about Barnes Group because it's totally new. Yeah. Good. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Chair.
You're there, right? Yeah.
Yes, can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good. So thank you, Mr. Rod and Mr. Makiva, for your comments. I'll just combine them together. A solution that you're looking for in terms of exporting scrap. Our request as the steel industry would be to ban the exports of scrap completely. One cannot argue that our infrastructure, both private and public infrastructure, is being stolen. We often have power failures, electrical cables stolen, electrical pylons stolen. We have Transnet trains delivering iron ore from the Northern Cape. In some cases, the cables are stolen on that train line from the Northern Cape to here 4 or 5 times the train is stopped because of that. Transnet, Eskom, Telkom can all, I don't think I need to prove that. This is the industry that we deal with. Scrap is sold for cash to bucket shops on the side of the road. We don't believe that a full export ban on scrap is possible, but if you ask me for my solution, a full export ban on scrap is what is required, and that's what's happened. Minister Patel has implemented that from October until now, from September until now, and local scrap prices have gone up. The industry is flourishing, and all is good. If we can't get a total export ban on scrap, what we put and what I'm arguing for is a minimum rate of R1,000 per ton for scrap exported. Ferrous scrap, that's the industry, that's steel scrap that we talk about, ferrous scrap. When you talk about grading scrap, scrap is graded, it's very difficult. You can ask the CSR, there's international grading books on scrap. The international grade of scrap is the 80-20, HMS 80-20, with 80% being a thick steel, 20% being a thin steel of a total parcel shipment. Now, in order to break that shipment out, you have to measure it, you have to separate the scrap in that particular shipment. Very, very difficult. To grade scrap is almost impossible, I say. And when I say that it's an opportunity for money laundering, and it's happening currently right now, people are exporting scrap at low values that's valued at a high rate to get money out of the country. You don't pay tax on it. You're not going to be paying the export tax on it. So to export scrap at the moment, when there's an export tax, it's going to force the exporter to reduce the value of the scrap being exported and pay the least amount of tax, and therefore enable that exporter to get money overseas. And remember, we're dealing with an industry that is very difficult to manage. It's based on steel scrap and other types of scrap. It's very difficult to manage. Our solution, and we try and assist SARS in grading imported steel, finished products that are specified, that have actual specifications for each item, and it's very difficult to us to actually achieve the grading of the steel coming in with SARS, and to make sure that there is no corruption, not from a SARS, corruption on the imported people grading or declaring the wrong tariff and paying a cheaper duty. Exporting scrap. Thank you.
And just tie up, please. Tie up. Go. I'll finish your last sentence.
Just exporting scrap without a minimum duty to be paid is going to be impossible to manage. Thank you.
Okay. Just very quickly, you've been engaging with Treasury about this before they brought the bill, right?
We have, yes.
And you engaged with DTIC as well?
Yes, we have. We've engaged with them.
Fine.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. I'll check on what's happening. Okay. Next, please.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Chair, I believe it's 12J Association next.
Where are you, 12J? Are you still here?
We are here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, please go for it. Yeah, go. Yeah.
Sure. Chair, thank you for the time again. I think these are complex issues that do require a longer conversation, but I'll do my best to summarize my responses in the 2 minutes. Honorable Moletsane, thank you very much for your points. I think to respond to some of your questions, are 12J investments in all provinces? Absolutely they are. And are there beneficiaries and investees that are of color? Absolutely. Per the report findings, obviously, naturally, more of the investment is in the major metro areas because that's where the majority of the economic activity is. We found that about 75% of investments are on the major metros, 25% are in outlying areas. As regards your question specifically in the agri sector, I think the report that we've shared with you is very useful, especially in Annexure A, where we've included various testimonials of some of the investments that have been invested into. Just to share some with you, for example, there's a table grape and citrus packhouse in the Northern Cape that has been invested into and created 250 jobs through 12J. There's a macadamia nut farm in Mpumalanga that not only has it unlocked community-owned land, but it also employs 22 permanent workers from the local community. And I think this goes, Honorable Mkiva, to your question as well around, who is benefiting from Section 12J. We found that of the jobs created, 75% come from previously disadvantaged individuals. To give you more examples of some of the investments, there's a lodge in the Kruger, Mdluli Safari Lodge, which is again on community-owned land that was unlocked through 12J. There's a business, Cape Mohair, that is a sock manufacturer in Cape Town that was in liquidation, that 12J investments have invested into and saved it from having gone under. And the list goes on. I would refer you again to that annexure to our report. On the question of capital flight, I mean, it's a very nuanced question. And the question I suppose that was asked is, how does one prevent capital flight? And there are a number of manners. The first, obviously, is through exchange control, which admittedly has been relaxed year on year for a long period of time now. The second, I would argue, is to create attractive local investments that promote investors to keep their capital in South Africa. I don't think that necessarily being a dual citizen would incentivize a person to take more money offshore. What we've seen from a lot of clients is that there's an attraction to take money offshore because it's perceived to be less risky. And I think one of the benefits that Section 12J has, because of the tax incentive, is that it does, to a degree, enhance returns for our clients, which is, in our view, one of the few mechanisms to keep capital onshore in South Africa at the moment. I think just the last point I'll make in the time allotted to me is that National Treasury's complaint and gripe around 12J for many years has been the concept of abuse. And over a number of changes in 2018, again last year, this abuse, in the view of the industry, has been clamped down on. Not only have there been a slew of amendments made to the law that, and I think Treasury will admit, has removed the potential for abuse, but also a cap has been placed on the legislation such that those very, very large investors are no longer able to be there. So what one has in 12J now is an ecosystem where you're getting small investments from small investors that are investing in small businesses, which I think was exactly the ecosystem that Treasury had in mind. And so I think collectively and collaboratively, we've got to a place where this thing can become a more sustainable part of the South African investment ecosystem. Thank you. And to the extent that there's any more questions, I'll happily submit a written submission after this.
Yes, but you could also respond a bit further if you care to, based on what people have said. Now we got V.S. Steele. So are you there?
Yes, sir.
Right, you got 2 minutes, my friend.
So there were some questions. I saw there's some questions wanted to be asked from me.
Well, basically, both Dennis Ryder and myself, we felt that we would like to hear Treasury's response before before we make a conclusion on your comments. But given the general questions raised to others, is there anything you want to add? You've got 2 more minutes to supplement your submission, though you didn't use your full 10 minutes, obviously.
Okay. I can only add one thing is, my final submission in this would be, this is the right step in the direction of industrialization in South Africa, especially in the metal sector. It will help the downstream industry also, but we should be very careful in terms of what exactly we want to achieve. My final submission should be, the export tax should be either minimum like 1,000 Rand on steel or 30%, whichever is the lowest. So This one will help to get more and more industries, and it will eventually help the downstream industries in South Africa. They'll be more competitive and will be able to create more value addition, value added products in the economy. That's the only submission I would like to do. Or if this doesn't work, there should be a complete ban on export of scrap, which I think would be quite harsh. But eventually, if that doesn't work, then that should be the last step. That's all. That's my final
All
submission,
right.
sir.
Thank you, sir. Now, Yanga, firstly, do you think you'll be, well, you can spend 2 minutes of your time quickly giving an overview of your replies in anticipation of a full reply. Secondly, do you think you'll be ready fully by tomorrow to actually do your reply? Thirdly, do you want to meet with some of the stakeholders, especially the Smart Funder Ed Invest Group or two, and actually engage with them and see whether you can sort of come to some sort of agreement? And remember, though it's a 75 bill, we can engage with the National Assembly Committee, and that means the timing is very important, Yanga. But I must say the stakeholders here are really quite good, actually. I don't know why. Well, we don't know enough why you said no to what they want. Not all of them, obviously, and not all of the things they say. Over to you, Yanga, 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, I want to apologize for Momo and for France because they are in the Newton committee. I'll do some of the responses, and Chris will do some of the responses, and Katinga from SARS will do preliminary responses on the TALAB. But we are available to respond tomorrow because most of the issues that are being raised here are the issues that have been raised in the Standing Committee on Finance, and we have responded to them. Because the revised TLAB take into account all the issues that the taxpayers are raising. So we are ready to respond tomorrow on the oral issues, as well as on the written comments, because also on the written comments that they have submitted, more especially from SAICA, you find that some of the issues have been addressed in the revised TLAB. There's a lot of issues that have been addressed in the revised TLAB that they've submitted in the written comments. That said, Chair, there are two important issues that I'm going to respond to. I think Chris is going to respond also on export tax on scrap metals, as well as on tobacco, and Katinga on the TALAB issues. On the issue of bursaries, before we can provide our formal response tomorrow, I want us, when we go away today, to understand that government is still cognizant of the skills shortage. Skills shortage is still an important factor in our policy making. Hence, we are not removing the exemption on bona fide bursaries. That should be clear, that the exemption is not taken away. It's only when there is an element of salary sacrifice. And it should be noted that the employer on the salary sacrifice is not funding the education, but the employee pays for the education before tax. And as we have said before, because in 1992, this thing, the element of salary sacrifice was not allowed. In 2006, there were changes. And even when the changes were made in 2006, we said it's justifiable as a matter of legal theory, because when there is an element of salary sacrifice, one cannot say bona fide bursary. As we have said in our response document, now we are reviewing the position to say, as we have said, it's justifiable as a matter of legal theory that an element of salary sacrifice that does not require a bona fide bursary. Now we are saying that if there's an element of salary sacrifice, there is no exemption. But if the employer is giving a bona fide bursary on top of the salary package, of which a bursary is a tax-deductible expense on the employer, then that is an exemption on the employee's hands. There is no taxable fringe benefit on the employee's hands. And I would like to quote SAICA because I like what they are saying in paragraph 119, page 18 of their submission, because they are saying that it appears that NT is seeking to ensure that bursaries are provided on a top-up of package basis, which is a highly desirable goal and an ideal to strive for. meaning that there is an understanding of what we're doing, that if it is a bursary, it should be on top of a salary package, not a salary sacrifice whereby you sacrifice your salary so as to get the benefit. That is not a bursary. And as you have said, we're still cognizant of the skills shortage in the country. We are not taking away the exemption. But what we are doing, we are saying that if there's an element of salary sacrifice, the exemption will not apply. So also, Smart Funder and Invest are saying that the incentive should be on top of an exemption, because they are saying that what we are saying is that only those employees
Younger, can I just draw your attention to this, right? You're giving full replies. I thought you'll just give us like heads. Our lawyers said heads of argument, right? Now it's 12:12, and you know what? Let me start with some fundamental thing. What does the Constitution say about the role of the NCOP, Younger? No matter what happened in the NA, you have to convince us in the NCOP committee. The fact that you dealt with these issues there doesn't mean that we as the NCOP committee may not come to a different view. As I explained at the outset, the only difference, Younger, is that our ability to implement the views that we have is limited by the fact that it's Section 75(0). So we have, but nothing stops us from referring some of these clauses back to the NA. Finally, it's their decision what they do. And at the rate these things are going, it seems that at least some of these clauses are highly questionable. And I'm saying to you, if you're going to repeat to us what you have said in the NA committee purely, that's what you're going to do tomorrow, then you're not helping, because we're going to say, well, you know what, go back and so on. Now, I will engage with the chief whip this evening and the NCOP chair to raise some of our issues that, you know, we're not happy with the answers we are getting, Younger. It's not convincing. The fact that the NA arrived at that is their right, but it's equally our right, even if it's a 75 bill, to alert the NA to the fact that, you know, there are some things here. For example, how can you not provide basic facts, which I hope you'll give us, because we won't be happy otherwise. For example, on this matter, what is the loss to the fiscus? What is the nature of the benefits? What are we going to do given that it's COVID-19 now and we've got no money? How are we going to fund higher education and so on? So those questions are going to be asked again. You know, they are our constitutional duty. So what I'm saying in short is, Younger, you're going further than was planned. So you're saying you can do it by tomorrow. You're saying that you'll be ready, bearing in mind that it's not a repetition of what happened in the NA. Otherwise, there's no point in having a second house, is there? So as long as you're clear that we won't just accept exactly what you repeat there, nothing stops us from asking you to go back and negotiate with the stakeholders where we feel they have a strong case. When we say we feel they have a strong case, Younger, we're not saying we agree with them, but we ain't going to agree with you either, unless you give us a strong enough argument. So far, we haven't heard it on this matter, actually. It's not clear enough to us that the weight of the argument is on your side, never mind what happened in the NA. So, Younger, I suggest, you know what, if you're ready for tomorrow, good. But beware, or be aware, not beware, be aware that we won't just succumb simply because you convinced the NA or you didn't provide all the answers. They, as citizens, well, as stakeholders in a parliamentary democracy, have the right to their answers to their questions. They don't have a right to determine policy. They're not elected politicians. So I think let's defer this thing, because it isn't the time now. We meet at 11 o'clock. Younger, you say you'll be ready tomorrow.
Yes, Chair, we will be ready tomorrow. But if you're saying that,
as long as you're aware, as long as you're aware
we can
that we could send you back. You can come with?
If you are saying that you must come on Thursday, we are available to come on Thursday, but we thought we'll be ready tomorrow, Chair.
Well, I think you should just look up, ask your lawyers what our rights are as the NCOP committee and see what is possible for us to do, and take it that we will do whatever the Constitution allows us to do. We have to do our job. So what do you want, Younger? I mean, your hands, as it were. But let's hear committee members. Is there anybody? I see in the chat group, somebody is saying something. I can't accept this reply. A conscious decision was taken into that decision. Okay, there's Ryder. So it's going to carry on, and we expect a long meeting. But remember, the priority is the appropriations, because we can't adopt the last phase of the appropriations process unless we adopt this one that we're in. So, I'll have to check their times and so on. So for now, what do other members feel? Should we have the meeting tomorrow or postpone it to Thursday?
It's Dennis here. I think that whichever would get us the best result in terms of a response from Treasury, and I think that Younger needs to understand that we feel that there were compelling arguments made today. Her responses must be equally compelling or more compelling in order to get us to go one way or the other. So if she's prepared to come back for tomorrow, that's great. I like what you said again about having further engagements. We did that last time with Section 12J, and I think a good result came out of that subsequent discussion, and everyone benefited. Everyone benefited. So yeah, I think that my personal view, if I was in Younger's shoes, I might opt for the Thursday. But if she's happy to come tomorrow, then by all means, we're available, Chair. We're ready to.
Yeah, I agree with you. Younger, it's your call.
Chair, may I come in?
But we will. Yeah, sure. We're not going to intrude on the Appropriations Committee. That you're clear about. I said that already. We will. Your program is very important here, so don't worry about that. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that the only issue you wanted to raise?
Thank you, Chair.
Yes, Chair.
Oh. Yeah, but I did say that at the outset. I didn't even know you connected. So, I said it not knowing you here, that we can't, we'll check what your times are. I will engage, as I said, with the Chief Whip and with the NCOP Chair, and we will, the first point is we're not going to intrude on your program. But we will revolve around. If you have to meet at night, so be it. Virtual meetings have been done up to 9 p.m. at night in terms of the parliamentary rules. And the gentlemen and women who are involved here, if they want to, they can join us. If they don't, that's fine. But we are where we are. And Younger, what we're signaling is you may well be right on everything you've said, but at this stage, they are quite compelling. When we hear you, will come to our own conclusion. What I thought is if you still have room for discussion, maybe you should do that tomorrow. But it's quite possible after we hear you tomorrow, we might say we're not happy, then go back to a discussion on Thursday. So it is a complex thing, as Dennis says. You see, if you convinced you got very strong replies and you don't need to engage with anybody, which is your right, but that's not Parliament's, that's your decision. Then you can come tomorrow. If you're unhappy, it gives you Thursday to negotiate with them, and we'll reconvene on Friday afternoon after the Appropriations Committee. If on the other hand, you feel, yes, maybe they do have a case on reflection, given our concern about, our sense that at initial level they have quite good arguments, then you might want to meet with them tomorrow and meet with us on Thursday. Or if you feel confident enough, come tomorrow, and then it's possible that we will refer you back to meeting with them on Thursday. So, Younger, please, we got to move on. What's your view?
Thank you, Chair. I'll take the wisdoms of the members and give us more time. Can we please schedule for Thursday? Okay, I will then engage with the committee section to find out when meetings are. We can't intrude on caucus. So tentatively, depending on what time the just remind me, since you're here, Chairperson, what time is appropriations meeting on Thursday?
Chairperson, I thought we'll finalize that because the debate is no more on Friday, it's on Thursday. So we can finalize that after the meeting. And,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will sort that out later.
You can talk to
we move back to Thursday. Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, we will sort that out. So, colleagues, the understanding is one, the two chairs and then the powers that be will look at it. Two is that rather than meet tomorrow, we meet on Thursday. Three is that whatever happens, we will take a decision based on our constitutionally defined role, not based on being subordinate to the NA. Four, there is no intention whatsoever to simply flex our muscle for the sake of it. That would be stupid. If the NA if the NA actually did the correct thing after reflection, then there's no point for us to. Five, we will have to engage with the fact that 9th of December is sacrosanct. So it'll mean working a lot, maybe even on Monday, which is our political day. But we have to finish, as indeed appropriations has to, otherwise you can't have a budget. Having said that, may I thank everybody. Committee section in Kuleleko Mangweni is a very good secretary. He will ensure that you are timelessly notified about the times of meetings. You'll have to give us a few hours because there's endless, it's like this virtual meetings gone mad culture. There's 3 meetings in a row for me, and I'm sure the same applies to the chair of the Appropriations Committee. So I'll only work on this after 7 o'clock this evening. Thank you, and we'll come back to you by tomorrow morning. Thank you all.
Can I, Chair, can we request the members to remain, please? Can we request the members to remain?
Sure, okay.
Please.
Yeah, they must remain. How long will it be, Dikeledi? I've got another meeting at 12, but I'll stay.
Just an announcement.
Oh, okay.
Chair.
So can we close the meeting formally? Anybody not a member of the Appropriations Committee and who's not a staff member, can you please exit? Thank you. Okay.
Good meeting.
Over to you,
Thank you
Dikeledi.
all.
Thank you, Chairperson, and good afternoon. All the members.
Remember, if you've forgotten, yeah.
Good afternoon, Chair and the members. It's just an announcement with the consultation that I've done with the authority in the NCOP based on the changes on the program that has been done and the number of presentations that must be done. We have been granted an opportunity today that at 3 o'clock, because the first session of the sitting is the bills, and they are going to need individual votes. So members are expected to be part of that process of voting. And at 3 o'clock, I'm requesting that as per permission, that we connect as appropriation. We deal with the mandates that you received from the provinces as part of the process. It won't be a long meeting, and thereafter we are connecting back to the plenary. I don't know if I'm clear, honorable members. I'm not clear.
I don't know. I think you're very clear, Dikeledi. I don't know. Maybe the DA is a bit slow, but I'm clear.
It's clear,
Chair. Yes, Honorable Njatu.
It's clear, Chair. Thank you very much.
Ryder.
Chair, sorry, you dipped out halfway, but Willie, if I can just check in with you afterwards. I think it was my signal that popped up, but I think I understood and I think I'm happy.
Chairperson,
Thank you. Thank you, members.
It's Willie, Chairperson. That is fine. That is how Dennis and myself has also discussed it. I just want to quickly touch on the proposed meeting for Thursday, Eunice. We've got caucus at 10 o'clock and then we've got our plenary at 2 o'clock. I don't know how we're going to fit in an extension of this meeting of this morning on Thursday. It's going to be very difficult. I think we should just maybe look into that. But we are ready for this afternoon, Dikeledi. It's as you said. Thank you.
Very correct. We can look into Friday. We can look into Friday because 2 o'clock is the debate on Dora. But
so Friday morning is free, Dikeledi.
Yes, it's
Friday
fine.
morning.
Friday is fine.
Yeah, no, I was thinking of Thursday after the house rises. In Kuleleko, can you just check what time the house rises? Let's talk offline. So I thought of Thursday 6 to 9 or 12 to 3. But obviously Thursday we're having our debate now. Okay, that's fine. Okay, in that case, it'll have to be Thursday evening, which gives them a Friday. Otherwise, it'll have to be a Friday morning. And that means they will have to now, I suppose they will have to discuss on Saturday and Sunday, because then we're meeting in on Monday. We'll have to ask for exemption on Monday. I don't know what else we do, because the meeting this morning asked Comrade Dikeledi. 9th of December is sacrosanct. Otherwise, Parliament is for another week. It's very costly. So leave all the dynamics to us. If it's feasible, Thursday 6 to 9 or 7 to 10 p.m. Otherwise, Friday. But we might need both Thursday and Friday. So that's why I don't want to rule out Thursday after the house rises. Dikeledi, do you know what time the house is rising on Thursday? Do you know what time the house is rising?
I don't.
We'll sort it out offline.
I don't know if Yeah, I don't know, Chair.
I just saw a comment, Chair,
Thank
from
you.
members. They are saying the Thursday
Yeah.
plenary is quite short.
Oh, all right. Then we can do after plenary. Okay.
Let the-
Kululeko work on that. Obviously,
the
members know I
verify
talked to
that.
Moletsani, I talked to Fani, and I talked to Dennis. I don't take decisions on programs without changing programs without consulting them. So they will be consulted. And I also spoke to Tikaleti and I spoke to Njadu. I'll speak to everybody. Okay. I've got nothing better to do. All of you can be included. Okay. Fine. Okay. That's consensual.
Sharp.
I'll also speak to the peasants in Mongolia. Okay. I've got to rush, guys. Tikaleti, you can carry on for the next hour. Bye.
I think they call that a chairperson of a different kind.